Every now and then I get asked, how do I manage everything that I do? Some people have even said that I'm lying about what I do, which honestly makes me laugh. My work life is rather crazy. Only the people close to me that have seen how I work and think can testify as to how varied my workday is, and that everything I share here is actually what's happening in my real life. What's most important is that I couldn't possibly do what I do without having an effective team. As you expand on your entrepreneurial journey, you absolutely will have to build effective teams. Today, I'm going to discuss how I structure my teams and how I use the Myers Briggs Personality Type Index to help me make sensible decisions for my organizations. On this channel, I discuss living globally along with business hacks in real estate and healthcare, showing you the path so you could go out and do the same. My name is Carl Pierre, and this is ENTP Life. People still think ENTP Life stands for the entrepreneur's life, when in fact it's a nod to my Myers Briggs personality type of ENTP. I took this test a few years ago and it really was an eye-opener for me. There were 2 psychologists who worked on creating this personality type index. In total, there are 16 personalities with various attributes, but essentially all people fall into one of these 16 categories. Some of these personality types are extroverted with a mix of intuitive thinking and so on. What you could do to find out your personality type is go to 16personalities.com, take the personality test, and you're going to be quite impressed with the results of that. I think they're going to be helpful in this exercise of learning how to build effective teams. The exam was so accurate in describing who I was that I wanted to get a better picture of my coworkers in my company so I could better relate to them and maximize on their strengths. The test is now one of many that I use in my organization to get a better understanding of our employees and applicants to the company. Now, building effective teams isn't only about these personality types. You have to match the right personality type with the necessary skill sets for a particular job. You can't just go out there and say, all right, I'm gonna start a company, so in my CEO's chair, I'm gonna have a ENTJ because they make good CEOs according to this typing. No, it doesn't work like that. You're gonna have to really review the person holistically. Look at their personality type for those variances in personality, but also look to their skill set. What does their resume say about them? Do they have relevant experience in this space? Are they gonna be useful? Do they have the skills that are necessary for the roles that you're charting out for your organization or for your project? So as an ENTP, I'm a natural problem solver and creative thinker. I see all possibilities all the time, and I immediately know how to monetize them. What I do lack is commitment to a single idea, setting priorities, and personal organization. In the past and in the present, this resulted in many failed startups or just appearing as totally random. I've noticed a trend in myself that my focus is about 3 to 6 months. For me to have success, one of 3 things must occur in the first 6 months of any project that I do. The project must be successfully completed so I can exit and move on. This is why flipping real estate works for me. Each project is new, exciting, and feeds my interest. Most of the homes that I flip get done in 3 months. Then I hand off the work of selling or renting the properties to my team for the next steps. The second thing is the project must achieve cash flow positive and be able to afford the supportive team that I need in the same 6-month period. The third thing that I realized is that the project must be properly funded from day one to have the appropriate team in place that will carry the project or business through completion regardless of my fading attention. This is if it's going to take more than 6 months. I need to be properly funded. Now that I spoke enough about myself, let's talk about building effective teams. Something really important to take away from the personality typing is that everybody should really understand their strengths and weaknesses. By taking the personality test, you're able to see in a clear way what your strengths and weaknesses are. And by knowing that, it's gonna put you in a better position to build a team around you if you're gonna be part of this team. If you're building an external team that is gonna be more for a particular project and your skills and your abilities aren't necessarily needed, you're just building out an organization, it's still important for you to know the strengths and weaknesses of the people that you're bringing onto this team, so you're not giving people responsibilities that their personality doesn't quite match up with, and certainly that their skill set and their training doesn't support. On my teams, I'm the knowledge bank and the ideas person. In order for me to achieve, I need executors. People who could take loose abstract ideas and form them into something orderly, something sensible. These people tend to serve as my upper management and middle management teammates. I count on them to get things done, communicate better than I ever can, and keep me on target since I'm likely to go rogue and start something entirely different, something new. What I noticed about this group is that they alone either don't think spontaneously to dream up new ideas or are personally risk adverse. What they are awesome at is running with ideas once the idea is explained and clear goals are set. The personality types that I think are great in these roles are ENFJs, ENTJs, and ESTJs. You can look them up on your own time for more details. They are all extroverts that tend to require order in their day-to-day lives. They are especially useful in early stages of business when hiring, training, and developing new talent will be required. They are also great, consistent workers that are comfortable with uncertainty and able to adapt. The next set of teammates I consider are the doers. The doers don't really care for innovation and new ideas, but care about getting the well-defined job done. Now, these doers and I don't really get along, both socially and in the workplace. They can't deal with my scattered way of thinking, the constant change, and the loose, undefined objectives like the NJs and MPs can. The NJs and MPs totally get it because they can think abstractly and fill in all the gaps. One good example for you to consider is a sports team, right? For those of you who watch basketball, you have a guy like LeBron James or Steph Curry. They're great in their particular roles. You can't necessarily build a whole basketball team with 12 people on your team of nothing but LeBrons or Steph Currys. The reason for that is because each of them have their particular skill set and work better with supporting roles, right? You can't have a bunch of little guys on the court or a bunch of big men on the court. You need a good mix that's gonna create a well-rounded team. Now, for those of you who are from my generation where you got to build out characters and build out teams, especially in video games that allowed you to build out the same character and have a team of 12 men that are exactly the same, know that when you try to do something like that, the team sucks. One of the video games that I can remember from childhood is one called Ice Hockey. There was the skinny guy, the medium guy, and the fat guy. And the skinny guy was fast on the ice, but if you bumped into him, he would lose the puck. It's the same thing when building out your teams. I know I'm using like a video game analogy, but it's important because you can't just have a team of one personality type. I love coming across other ENTPs, kicking around ideas, dreaming out loud. But if I try to build an organization with nothing but ENTPs, I would end up having 1,000 companies that do nothing. The people that I'm referring to that are these doers are really good at repetitive processes. As an ENTP personality type, the idea of doing the same thing every single day is the equivalent of hell to me. So the people who are needed in like cashier roles, working in factories that are just doing the same job every single day that needs to be done precisely are the types that I'm talking about in this example. They are good at making sure that the process continues as designed without fail. If you have somebody in a role that cannot really tolerate doing the same thing over and over again, like an ENTP or an ENFP especially, they can't do the same thing over and over and over again. You wouldn't want them to be in a very detailed oriented position where following steps 1 through 10 are necessary to get the same outcome. An ENTP would look at steps 1 through 10 and think, how can I get by with doing this by just doing steps 1, 7, and 10 and trying to get through that. Your machine is gonna break down if you have somebody in a role that their personality is not suited for and that their skill set, again, does not match the necessary role. To close this out, here are the things that you should remember about building effective teams. Number 1, you need to have a clear idea and goal to build a team around. Number 2 is you need to know what players are needed to achieve the goal at various stages of your project. Your early stage team and your late stage team may be very different in composition. Number 3 is define the skill sets and personalities required for the steps and stages of the endeavor. The 4th thing to keep in mind is know the strengths and weaknesses of each teammate, including yourself, so you can supplement and pull in the right teammates so your operation is well-rounded in all phases of its processes. I hope you find this episode helpful as you take on your next project or company. Thanks again for joining me here at ENTP Live. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with anybody that you think will find it useful. Until the next time, take care.